Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa and we have all just had access to Overwatch. No longer is it only watch, it is now, well, it's Overwatch. It's always been Overwatch, innit? But I mean, we can all play it, that's what I'm trying to say. So, I want to know what your thoughts are. I want you to write in the comments of this video your detailed thoughts on your first experience with the game. I don't necessarily care if you had access to the closed beta phases like me, because I've kind of, well, I think I know how you guys feel. But I'm just going to talk about what I've experienced with the open beta. So, it was pretty much what I expected. In terms of the way the game has been played, so a lot of cheesy tactics, which all of this happened when I first got access to the closed beta, sorry, all those months ago. Things like Bastion hiding behind the spawn, not hiding behind the spawn doors, but hiding to the side of a spawn. Everybody rushes out the door and then they all get instantly killed. Bastion hiding behind Reinhardt's shield with Mercy damage boosting him on top of a payload. Torbjorn's turret on top of a payload. Yeah, Bastion, he's massively OP. He kills me instantly. Torbjorn's turret, it locks on too fast. It kills us way too quick. Blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff. It happened to me. But after a while, or maybe after like a couple of weeks of play, you'll soon get familiar with how to deal with those situations. Because, I mean, if Bastion's set up in the corner and he's protecting a point, and maybe he's in a nice position where he's in a little alcove and he's protected from a couple of sides, well, you just kill him with Pharah or Junkrat. Or if Tracer's ultimate's up, you jump in and blow him away. You snipe him with Widowmaker, you multi-arrow him with Hanzo. There's a load of ways of getting rid of him. But I expected people to struggle with that, and they did. And when I look around the forums, and even when I look in comments on some of the videos that I've made recently, in fact, the Torbjorn guide video I made, there was people commenting like, your golden rule for Torbjorn is wrong. You should play Torbjorn on attack. You can put his turret on the payload. And I'm just like, that cannot be real. It works at the start of the game, don't get me wrong, and it will work at, like, I mean, this is where I think the game's going to go. When it opens, when everybody has access to it, it's permanently launched at the end of this month. We're going to be looking at a situation where a lot of these cheesy tactics will work to begin with. I mean, I've been guilty of doing this myself, just for a laugh. I mean, I've sat there with Bastion and I did almost 18,000 damage in one game. Got, like, I don't know, 30 eliminations or something stupid, because they don't deal with you. They just let you kill them, and then they moan about your damage output being too high, instead of actually thinking, how do I get around this? Now, I don't expect people to understand all 21 heroes and be like, oh, I'm just going to counterpick Bastion immediately, because it's not as simple as that, is it? I mean, okay, maybe simply you could be like, all right, well, we need to get rid of a Bastion. Let's change into a Junkrat, and then we can get rid of the Bastion with the Junkrat. Maybe new players to the game would understand that. And also, I want to make a distinction here. When I'm saying new players or less experienced players, what I don't mean is terrible players, because Overwatch is a complicated game. And this is another point I want to get into, but let me just make this point. It is a complicated game. It's not something you can just run in and pick McCree and become like, oh, I'm amazing, I've got awesome accuracy, because you'll get shut down by loads of different heroes. I mean, similarly, if you pick McCree, if you're playing a tank, if you're playing Reinhardt, or I don't know, Winston or something, and somebody's McCree on the enemy team, and they keep shutting you down with the flashbang, fan their hammer, roll and fan the hammer combo, which will just basically kill everybody, then you need to change your hero to deal with that situation, not moan about how McCree's OP. You are making them OP. Now, what generally happens in Overwatch is you constantly swap heroes throughout the game. You don't just play one hero and that's it. You play a hero, it might be going well, but then you have to try and think, oh, right, where's the gap? Where can I change my hero to be more effective? And there's loads of I mean, I can't give you an example, because it all depends on the game you're playing right now. I mean, hell, if you were playing Bastion and you were getting a lot of success and you were murdering the enemy team on defense, let's say on the final point on Dorado, you're sitting there with Bastion, you're blasting, you're getting loads of kills, it's amazing. Then you get killed. Maybe it's not even an intentional death. Maybe it's just, I don't know, unlucky and you died. They didn't exactly counter you. But if you swap then into a different class, let's say you go to a Soldier 76, well, the enemy team might start changing to counter Bastion because they've been killed by him quite a lot of times. And then suddenly there's no Bastion. There's a Soldier 76. Maybe they go for Junkrat. Well, Soldier 76 will murder Junkrat unless Junkrat's point blank on Soldier 76, which is never going to be. So it's very complex in that way. But this is the other point I want to get onto, because there's been a lot of feedback I've been getting. And very stupidly, I thought Overwatch was a new player friendly game. But Overwatch doesn't really explain what it is to people. It gives you a very basic tutorial. Move forward, move back, jump, shoot at the bad guys. That's great. What it doesn't tell you, though, is how to play all the heroes. This is why I've been making hero guides. And this is why I've been doing them in the style that I've been making them in, which is a very relaxed, laid-back way. It's not statistically broke down to the super details and distilled to mental accuracy of, I don't know what, telling you the exact damage Zarya does when she's fully charged, because I don't know. But I know she does shitloads of damage, so if you get fully charged with her, you can do loads of damage. That's what that was the thing I was going for, and I think it's working, and a lot of people are enjoying those videos, and that's great that I can help people better understand the heroes and get into the game. But going back to the other point, I don't think it's very friendly for new people to get into, because you need to understand what each hero does, and then you need to understand how heroes work together on a team and what to do to counter the enemy, which is massively complicated. I mean, it's really, really complicated, even down to the... I cannot give you exact examples. I mean, if people approach me and say, oh my god, I was playing against this, this and this on the enemy team and it was just OP, blah, 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 I don't know what to do. Well, it might be a bit more complex than just saying, alright, well, change into Widowmaker and snipe the Bastion that kept killing you. Maybe other people in your team should be reacting and should be changing up. Now, as the weeks go by, the months go by, hell, the years go by after Overwatch is launched, all of this will become not common knowledge, but people will get to understand what is known as the meta. Now, the meta in a game, in case you don't know what this is, it's just sort of the standard way of playing, and it always evolves, and it always will with Overwatch, because new heroes will get added, heroes will get changed, and even subtle changes drastically change the way the game operates. And it'll change the meta. So you have to kind of... It'll just be through experience. And you play the game, you will get used to it. So, the open beta for me... I think the most disappointing thing was there was a lot of negativity in the chat. Now, I'm hoping this goes away, because you have to pay to play Overwatch. It is not League of Legends. It is not Dota 2. You don't just turn up and download it and get on with it. It's also not CSGO. Now, CSGO is quite cheap. Overwatch is not really cheap, and I don't think it'll ever be cheap because it's a Blizzard game. Or maybe when there's tons of extra content for it out down the line, then maybe, yeah, it might be a little bit cheaper. But I don't think that's ever going to be the case. So what do I mean when I say a lot of toxic behaviour? So when I play games, I like to be positive. You guys know this. You listen to me in these videos. I'm positive all the time. I don't like to be aggressive to people. I don't like to be an arsehole. I don't like to be like, you need to change your hero. What are you doing? And getting really moany like that. Now, I've seen people really, really, really moan. In fact, just recently, I was playing as Mei, and I was just wrecking the other team as Mei. It was on Hanamura's defense, and okay, I would. Right, I've got loads more experience compared to the majority of people that are playing the game right now, and it was just ridiculous. Loads of kills, masses of eliminations. The enemy team were typing abuse to me in the chat. It was like, Mei's OP, this is a joke, what the hell, that character needs fixing. It's like, well, Mei's not OP. You're just walking into my trap and dying every single time. If you're Genji, what you have no business jumping on Mei. She will murder you. Any of the tanks, with the exception of Roadhog, because if Roadhog hooks you in and fires at you, he'll probably kill you. But even so, you can probably just ice block as he pulls you in and then carry on working on him. Mei she's anti-tank, anti-Reaper, anti-anybody close range. Yeah, she's got a fairly decent ranged attack, but she's not invincible. She's not this OP bloody wonder hero that wrecks the enemy team. Yet you would see people moan about this all the time. And then there were examples of people moaning about, oh my god, we need a tank. Somebody play a tank right now. Now, I just want to say something. You don't always need a tank. You don't always need a support. But what I will say is, almost in every single case, you will have more chance of winning the game if you have a support or a tank on your team. Now, you can roll double tank. I've seen people moan about that. Oh my god, 2 tanks, we don't need 2 tanks. Or 2 support, we don't need 2 support. I mean, again, are you joking me? I mean, if you run with Zenyatta and, let's say, a Lucio, and a Roadhog, and a D.Va, well, they all do different things. D.Va is backline disruption. She's a tank, kind of, but not really. She jumps around and murders people at close point-blank range. Roadhog, well, he's a tank. He's good for securing payloads. He's good for being active on points for quite a long time because he's got loads of health and he's massively disruptive. He's also excellent at killing really squishy heroes. He's great at killing Pharah if she floats too low. He's great at murdering Tracer. He murders Genji. He murders a load of people. So there's a lot of variety there in the team. And with Zenyatta, fantastic Zenyatta is. I think Zenyatta at the moment, when he's on his own, it can be a little bit frustrating for newer players because if the enemy team's got a Widowmaker and a Widowmaker knows what it's doing, it will just kill you over and over and over again. So it's a bit difficult to play. I think he's easily countered. Tracer has been in every game I've played, and if you're playing Zenyatta and Tracer jumps around the back and she gets onto Zenyatta, she's probably going to kill him because Zenyatta doesn't have a lot of health and he's going to go down. But in conjunction with like Lucio, the synergy between those two is pretty good because you've got to think Zenyatta's got the Discord Orb, which increases damage on targets that he applies it to. He's got his single target heal over time, which he can apply to people. And Zenyatta does a surprising amount of damage. Lucio's healing the whole team. He's jumping around. He's very robust, Lucio is. And he's sort of like interfering with what the enemy's doing, and then he can speed people up. So there's quite a bit of synergy there. I'm not saying play Lucio and Zenyatta all the time. Again, it all depends on what the hell you're doing at any given time. So yeah, this idea of not being able to play multiple, even in fact being able to play multiple of the same hero, I've seen that as well. It'd be like, we don't need another Widowmaker, which, okay, in a lot of examples, you probably don't need 2 Widowmakers, right? Or 5 Hanzos or something like that, or well, 6 Tracers. But this kind of leads me to another point. Defense hero. When you look at the hero classifications, again, I've seen a lot of this kind of chat. We're still talking about toxic chat here. Like, people's attitudes are a bit weird, especially when they've not played the game for that much yet. They're trying to tell other people what to do and all of that stuff. So if you're on defense, the game will say to you, pick a defense hero. It will say in the hero select, no defense heroes, if none are selected. You don't actually have to pick a defense hero. What it's saying is, you're defending. These heroes are kind of better for defending, so maybe you should pick one. It doesn't mean that you go into the team chat and go, oh my god, somebody needs to pick a defensive hero, we don't have one. Because you could be equally effective with a build that doesn't include a defensive hero. Widowmaker though, she's one there's been a lot of discussion around. You probably, like I just said, don't need 2 Widowmakers. But Widowmaker is viable on attack. She's very viable on attack. She's also viable on control point maps, so the King of the Hill maps. Just because it says defense next to her name does not mean you only play her on defense. And it also doesn't mean that you should go into the chat and be like, what are you playing Widowmaker on defense, on attack for? Sorry, she's a defense hero. Widowmaker, in the hands of a good player, can wipe people out. So if you're quickly eliminating people and your team is moving up onto the point, well, then you're highly effective because you're getting rid of the enemy team. You're a damage class. So I think it's a little bit confusing when you see Widowmaker in the defense slot because she is, well, she's a sniper. If you're very good at reaction fire, then you can do a lot of work with Widowmaker. It's the same with Hanzo, really. You know, they're very similar in the way they operate. So I think people need to sort of get out of that mindset of, oh, it's a defense hero, you shouldn't play it on the attack. Now, the only thing I would say you shouldn't really play on the attack, unless you're doing some sort of stupid tactic or whatever, is Torbjorn, because he's not... I think in almost every situation I can think of when you would use a Torbjorn in attack, you could just use a Bastion in attack and it probably would be better. Because I've got news for you, Bastion is the highest DPS of any character in the game when he's in his turret mode. So, I mean, maybe use Bastion. But again, Bastion in his turret mode is easily countered if people know what they're doing. He's kind of effective when he's suddenly hiding around a corner and you don't expect him. I mean, before the closed beta finished, where I think the meta was more... Well, it was definitely more developed. You could work Bastion into your teams, but you would never start with a Bastion because it wouldn't be effective, because it would be easily counterable. But what you would do is if you died, maybe you could quickly swap into a Bastion, hide around a corner, the enemy team comes around, you get a couple of kills, and then you swap out of your Bastion into a different character, because they'll be wise to that tactic then. As soon as you get them once, they'll be like, okay, there could be a Bastion, and they'll be on the lookout for it. So you could swap out of it. But this again goes right back to my other point, where Overwatch is a game where you swap heroes. It's not a game where you sit there and play one hero for the whole game. Granted, it's the open beta, and granted when the game first launches, people are going to have to do that to learn the heroes. It's okay me saying that after I've played hundreds of hours of the game since like October. You know, it's almost rich of me saying that. So, you know, that's fine that that's going to happen. But if you're going to sit there and moan, do think to yourself, well, if I change my hero, could I affect the game in a positive way? I mean, I played as Junkrat, and this was on... No, not Hanamura. It was on Temple of Anubis, and it was on the last point. We blasted through the first point. The enemy team started to change up their heroes. and they wiped me out. I think I maybe died twice or even 3 times. And then I'm like, you know what would work here? A D.Va. So I come out of Junkrat and I go into D.Va. And I think we had a Roadhog at the time. We might have even had a Reinhardt as well. No, I think we had a Winston, a Roadhog, and then I changed into D.Va. So you could be thinking, what the hell? 3 tanks? Are you joking me? Well, the reason I did that is because they had a Symmetra and they also had a Widowmaker. And the Widowmaker was actually pretty good on their team. So I jumped straight on the Widowmaker with my defense matrix up so it absorbs the shots. Killed her at point blank range. Jumped down, killed Symmetra, because Symmetra cannot kill D.Va before D.Va can kill her in close combat. I've just killed 2 of their heroes there, and then I jumped out. Well, that's massively effective, and that's a good example. Just one of, like, I could give loads of examples, I suppose, although I said it is difficult for me to give examples, because it all depends on what's going on at that time in the game. But that was just from past experience that I've had over this open beta period. That's a positive way of changing the game. Now, I made a video on supports because I noticed people were not playing support characters. In fact, people would instantly lock in as Genji and as Tracer and as Widowmaker. They're probably the most popular heroes because of obvious reasons. They get a lot of flashy play of the games. I mean, especially Genji. Reaper as well, he's one. You know, it's very easy to charge up Reaper's ultimate and then just go in and kill. Which actually, this is a good point, don't clump up. This is another thing I see people doing. When the payload needs pushing, if you've got 3 or more people on it, it moves faster. So it's a good idea to get people onto it. But you don't want to be on the payload when you know the enemy team is about to jump you, or you know there's a Reaper around, or you know something like that is going to happen. Because all Reaper needs to do is jump into the middle, press Q, and you're all dead. And that's going to be really bad. So you have to kind of be dynamic again in the way you play and think, right, now we can jump on the payload, now we can jump off. But this will just come with experience. You don't have to be a good player to realise this. It's just experience. And that's what I'm starting to realise with Overwatch. It's all about experience. Yeah, you can be good at FPS games. That will definitely help you. But if you're playing a character which can be completely shut down by another character and the other team is clever enough to swap out and sort you out, well, they're going to win, probably. And I mean, there are examples where skill will, individual player skill will help and you will be able to make the kills and do the damage. But I think it's very interesting to look at it from, that kind of respect. So supports, as I was saying, people really don't want to play supports, and I don't know why. Or maybe I do know why. Because Overwatch is a little bit too... I don't really like this about the game, but it puts a bit too much emphasis on people getting the kills. I would say out of most play of the games I've seen, 90% of them are damage, shutdown play of the games or something like that, where it's just normally 3 kills in quick succession, it's play of the game. Yet in those games I've been in, if I was playing Mercy, I know for a fact that a res I pulled off, maybe it brought back 2 people, and then I applied the damage buff and we sort of pushed forward and captured that point to open up the payload. Maybe there were 30 seconds left to go. In that case, that's obviously play of the game. If we went on to win the game, that caused us to play, to win the game. Not Soldier 76 just shooting 3 guys earlier on in the game and it didn't really affect anything. So I think everybody wants to play of the game. It's the big thing, like, oh yeah, check me out, I'm play of the game. Look at my fancy animation. And, well, you can get it with support. I mean, you can. I mean, if you do a big res with Mercy, you'll get it, and other ways of doing it with the other support characters. But the supports are not boring to play. They're really, really good fun to play. Out of all of them, Zenyatta is the most difficult because he's so fragile. Zenyatta needs to be out in the open. He needs to maintain line of sight for his buff, his debuff and his buff to be effective. So if he's got his heal orb on, his harmony orb, and then he's got his discord orb on, well, he needs to maintain line of sight with those targets. If he doesn't, they're going to be returned back to him and they're not going to work. So this means he's out in the open. Well, this is not good for Zenyatta because he doesn't have a lot of health. So Zenyatta only kind of really works if the team support Zenyatta with various other heroes, or you be really, really clever in the way you play him. And again, that's going to come down to loads and loads of experience. Lucio, on the other hand, is the easiest support to play by an absolute country mile. I mean, if you're playing a Soldier or Tracer or whatever, and you know your team needs healing, maybe you don't even have a support character, why not give Lucio a go? He's quite similar to Tracer. He moves fast, he jumps around. His damage output is not the greatest. It's kind of lackluster because it's very hard to hit with his projectile attack, where he fires the 3 kind of sound waves out. His right click is the big boom, which knocks people back, which is fun on maps where you can knock people to the death. So think of the, I think it's the Temple on Nepal, where you can knock them down into the hole, which is always funny. Or Lijiang Tower, where I I forget the name of the point, but it's one with the bridge where you can knock them off in the gap. You know, it's good fun to do that with Lucio. But all you do with Lucio is you could just run around with a heal song on, and you're going to heal the team, and that's going to be fine, and you're going to positively affect the team. You can wall run, you can increase your speed. As you get better with them, or with him as a character, then you can sort of start juggling the song and doing all kinds of stuff. Then you've got Mercy, who is the most direct support. She heals and she damage buffs, and that's Mercy. And then she can res the team. Mercy she gets shut down hard when you are left out in the open. She'll also get shut down hard if your team start trickling in, which is by far the worst thing to do, and this happens all the time. I've seen from the open beta where you need to go in as a team. Don't go in one by one, because you'll just die over and over and over again, and that's what the defensive team want you to do. So don't do that. Same for, I guess, if you're the defensive team and you're going in one by one, you'll lose the game really quick. Generally, it's the attackers who go in on their own, and it's just crazy. I've seen arguments where people are like, well, I'm Reaper, and I've got my ultimate, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to kill them all. It's like, yeah. But you might kill them all, but where's the rest of your team? Because by the time your team get back, they're going to be respawning and coming back. So it isn't that effective. Anyway, whatever. So supports, then we move on to Symmetra, and Symmetra again is fairly difficult to play. I mean, if I'm going to rank all of the supports, Lucio is the easiest, then it would be Mercy, then it would be Symmetra, then it would be Zenyatta. Now Symmetra, she can drop turrets down all over the place, and she can provide shields to your team. It's only a small shield, but it's quite surprising how effective that can be, especially on low hit point heroes. You put that on a Tracer, that's quite good. You put it on a Genji, it's quite good. A McCree, anyone like that, that can make them survive duels, which is awesome, like a 1v1 situations they might get into. But Symmetra's teleporter is game changing, and I've seen a lot of people put the teleporter in really weird places, but I expect that because nobody knows the maps really. It's only all the people who've been playing since the closed beta phases who know where to put Symmetra's teleporter in a good place so it's not going to get instantly killed, where to drop Symmetra's turrets all around the place, and all of that stuff. So she's very much an experience based hero, much like Zenyatta, but the other two supports are not. But the point I was making is not a lot of people were playing support, and I think it is down to they don't get any recognition. There's no fancy play of the game. There's no like, wow, you've saved me. Wow, you've done a really great job. Sometimes there is, and sometimes I've had it as I've played Mercy, because the team will know, oh wow, that res was awesome, or something like that. Or when you dive in and you just quickly save somebody, they might say thanks, or they might say something. So there is reward in it, but I think the game needs to do a bit of a better job at that, and it also needs to do a better job of explaining to new players how to play the game. But like I said, that's why I've been making videos, guide videos, and quite a lot of other YouTube channels have been doing it as well. There's a load of guide content out there on Overwatch, so I suggest you guys check it out. Not just my stuff, but other stuff, because it's fantastic. So yeah, I've rambled on for quite a bit here. In fact, let me carry on rambling on, because I like rambling on, ladies and gentlemen. This has sort of been a massive flow, a flood of my thoughts, my unadulterated thoughts on the closed beta, the open beta, sorry. So you see a lot of tactics that were being used. Maybe you've got well, I think I explained. Yeah, I went into this. I don't really want to talk about that again, do I? With the Bastion and the Torbjorn and how to counter them, all of that stuff. I think actually, you know what, I am going to leave it at this, because I am rambling, ladies and gentlemen. My God. I mean, I've rambled for like, what, 23 minutes or something now? Ridiculous. So what I want to know is, how has it been for you playing Overwatch for the first time after seeing a load of video content on it for almost 7 months, I think it's been, 8 months, 9 months since it opened up when I had access to it? What does it feel like? Is the game what you expected it to be? One thing I've always said is I fully believe this game, when you play it, you love it. You will really love it. If you've been enjoying video content, when you play it, it takes it to a whole other level. It's so smooth, it's so fresh, it's so dynamic, it's so responsive. It's just absolutely ridiculous on every level. I mean, it is my favourite game. It goes without saying. This is my favourite game right now. I've been playing it a shed load. It's absolutely mental, and it's going to be really annoying for me when it goes offline, because, well, I'm going to have major withdrawal symptoms. I mean, I'll keep making videos on it, yeah, because I've got a lot of stuff that I actually want to talk about and things that I want to make. But the end of the month can't really come soon enough. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comments below. I have been Stylosa. If you want to follow me on Twitter, then you can do. It is @UnitLostGaming, and do send me pictures of any kind of amazing stats you've got from Overwatch, or, I don't know, well, amazing screenshots, I suppose. Well, send me videos, send me anything over Twitter. I do like looking at stuff you guys make. And yeah, I've been Stylosa, guys. This is Unit Lost, and Overwatch is one hell of a game. I'll catch you next time. Toodaloo.